Hey guys, welcome back to another review of one of my favorite films. Today, we're going to talk about a film that really never gets old. Jaws. Have you ever wondered how this film made it to win 4 Academy or Oscars awards and nominated for the best film of the 20th century? Jaws was originally based on a 1974 book by the famed writer Peter Benchley, and Steven Spielberg worked together with him to discuss details of the plot that would later be used in the movie, with the same name, of course, Jaws. On the 20th of June 1975, Jaws was released and instantly made $7 million that weekend. It scared people to the extent that people didn't go to the beach for months after the movie was released. The main plot of Jaws is fairly simple. A killer shark territorializes a certain area of sea on the shores of Amity Island, which is a small island that mostly attracts tourists. The shark attacks many people, and Chief Brody, acted by Roy Scheider, Quint, which is Robert Shaw, and Hooper, acted by Richard Dreyfuss, go out to sea to solve this problem. Other characters acting in the movie are Susan Backlinie, Lorraine Gary, and Murray Hamilton. Robert Shaw is a fisherman and teams up with Roy Scheider, the police chief of Amity Island, as well as Richard Dreyfuss, who plays the part of an oceanographic scientist who helps the team in solving this problem. Personally, my favorite scene from the movie is when the shark attacks the boy, as it has many of the film's symbolic shots and acting in that scene. Here's the video. The director of Jaws does an amazing job of creating just the right mood in just the right moment, considering that Steven Spielberg had limited techniques to portray the shark at that time with little to no CGI to use at that time, so he deserves a round of applause. It was reported that he followed the advice of Alfred Hitchcock that the unseen and the unknown is indeed the scariest of all. In my opinion, the various expressions and realistic emotions like the attack boy crying out in pain of actors when acting the movie made viewers watching the movie have a special emotional attachment to them. Compared with the book by Peter Benchley, the reader almost wants the shark to win, but in this movie, Steven Spielberg makes us scared and filled with anticipation of what will happen next. Filled with lots of suspense, Jaws employs clever cinematographic skills to portray the shark in a scary and mysterious manner to this audience. For example, when the girl is attacked by the shark, there is no evidence of shark at all. Instead, Steven Spielberg used elements like screams and silence to signify that the shark is fearless and is attacking its victim with no mercy. Today, I'll also be discussing how the film element of cinematography is used throughout the film, particularly the various cinematic techniques. I'm going to focus on the many cinematic techniques used in this film, including the various subcomponents of cinematic techniques like the camera angles, camera zoom, and camera shots that Steven Spielberg uses. Some of them include the over-the-shoulder shot, natural lighting, bird's eye view, medium close-up shot, tracking shot, perspective shot, and wide shots. Among them, the dolly zoom or shot is one of the most memorable aspects of Jaws, which can further set the mood of the scene. His wife is seen massaging his shoulders to relieve his stress from the current situation, and suddenly a hyper scream from the boy being attacked makes the camera slowly lose focus from Chief Brody's face and slowly becomes a wide shot. The dolly zoom effect can be done with a zoom lens, which Steven Spielberg used to adjust the angle of view from the viewer or the camera to the subject, while keeping the subject, in this case Chief Brody, the same size in that frame throughout. The dolly zoom is a special trademark of Steven Spielberg films and used to portray the anxiety and confusion of the current scene. In Alfred Hitchcock's film Vertigo, Ermine Roberts was the first to use the dolly zoom, showing a person looking down from a staircase. Personally, I think that dolly zoom can suggest that Chief Brody is undergoing a realization that this shark attack is indeed real, as opposed to the last few false scares. As I mentioned, the dolly zoom induces a sense of anxiety and confusion that the character is feeling to the audience. The dolly zoom has a delayed sense in which Chief Brody slowly zooms out of focus, and by the time he realizes what's happening, it's too late to do anything. This whole time, Chief Brody is relaxing. The audience has a sense that something bad is going to happen, as you will know after watching the film, effectively creating suspense among the viewers. Throughout the whole film, to be honest, I was emotionally unbalanced, anxious to know what was going to happen next. Other than the dolly zoom being a special trademark, the camera zoom technique of Steven Spielberg, the perspective shot, is also one of the most famous and classic camera shots that Steven Spielberg fans will always love. In that same scene, the water box, which has a waterproof box that was pioneered by Steven Spielberg to hold the camera in to show underwater views, shows the movie from the shark's perspective. This shot is called the low angle point of view shot or the low angle perspective shot. In Jaws, it has the effect of making people feel like they are the actors in the movie. Many people would in fact jump out of their seats wanting to shout at the actors, "Get out of the water, get out of the water!" As the camera gets closer, your mind subconsciously knows something's going to attack. Worse, you don't know what it is. Subsequently, Steven Spielberg decided to add non-diegetic music to the movie, where John Williams' simple two-note scores plays a big part in the suspense-filled plot of the film, whose quickening rhythm and increasing volume made anyone who watched Jaws frightened. Steven Spielberg admitted that 50% of the success of the film could be attributed to his score. In almost every scene, the background music can foreshadow the shark's appearance, which can help to create suspense and anticipation among the audience. According to published official research, music is actually essential to change the overall mood of the film or scene. Particularly, the ostinato used in the Jaws sound is haunting to listeners and viewers, as countless repetitions of the simple two-note motive can hypnotize you subconsciously even if you don't know it. The combination of both the unique cinematic techniques coupled with the foreboding and haunting sound captures the imagination and attention of the viewers, especially without the shark in many parts of the film, leaving the imagination of audiences to run wild. But does a stunning job in engaging the audience, all while he increases the suspense of this film. To be frank, this was rated as a science fiction or horror film. It's scary in its own way, unlike Annabelle or Conjuring, where it finds ways to catch you just when you thought it was over. Unlike other horror movies, Jaws doesn't just jump. This technique further adds on to the suspense that the audience feels, keeping you emotionally imbalanced. If I were to rate this movie, I would give it a 9 out of 10. Personally, I think that there could be a bit of room for improvement where Steven Spielberg could make the shark look more realistic. Other than that, I think that the acting and the choice of camera shots and framing, as well as other aspects of the film, were amazing. As mentioned, the actors gave convincing performances that highly enthralled and scared the audience, which played a huge part in inducing fear and suspense to the audience. Thank you as always for watching, and don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.